here, particularly if it's a negative, but I'm worried about the committee accepting a defense budget where effectively a quarter of it, including some of the bread and butter procurement requirements, depends on a third reconciliation package that may be an uphill climb. And so I don't know, Mr. Secretary, if you can kind of walk me through why I shouldn't be worried about this, why what is included in the base budget bill will be the good coverage that we need, and it is not necessarily dependent on an additive of the reconciliation.
America First Voice is back with another hard-hitting reaction. Today we're reacting to this Senate hearing where Louisiana Senator John Kennedy absolutely roasts a Biden-era agency head with his signature blunt style, exposing layers of government waste, incompetence, and bureaucratic nonsense that hardworking American taxpayers are forced to fund. Let me tell you, patriots, Senator Kennedy is a national treasure for cutting through the swamp speak and getting to the truth. If you're tired of trillions in wasteful spending, unaccountable bureaucrats, and government officials who can't answer basic questions, smash that like button right now and subscribe. Let's dive in. Senator Kennedy, in his classic no-nonsense way, starts firing questions that the witness struggles to answer clearly. He highlights ridiculous spending priorities, confusing program names, and the general failure of federal agencies to deliver results while burning through taxpayer dollars. The back and forth is pure gold as Kennedy presses on specifics, forcing the official to confront the absurdity of how money is being spent. Here's my unfiltered take as a right-wing patriot and constitutional conservative.
Senator Murkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, gentlemen, thank you. I wanted to start off my questions with a focus on the reconciliation package. I know that it has not yet been introduced. But we're told $350 billion. Here's my concern, and I'm just going to be really direct. We've got a second reconciliation that we're going to be dealing with in these next few weeks regarding immigration enforcement, and we're halfway through a calendar year. A third reconciliation may or may not happen. I'm just being direct and upfront. I think certainly the focus will be to try to move us to that. But here's my concern. If we have a $350 billion sitting in the reconciliation package, you look at what is contained in that. 53 of your 85 requested F-35s. So I look at that and say, wow, if the reconciliation bill fails or doesn't advance, you drop below your own FY26 fighter procurement baseline. Over $53 billion for drone dominance. I think this is all something we support. Over $113 billion for munitions production and industrial base investment. There's other areas. So here's my question. I worry about us banking on a third reconciliation package. I know we don't want to engage in the speculative here, particularly if it's a negative, but I'm worried about the committee accepting a defense budget where effectively a quarter of it, including some of the bread and butter procurement requirements, depends on a third reconciliation package that may be an uphill climb. And so I don't know, Mr. Secretary, if you can kind of walk me through why I shouldn't be worried about this, why what is included in the base budget bill will be the good coverage that we need, and it is not necessarily dependent on an additive of the reconciliation.
Senator, I appreciate that perspective and share your concern. That's why one of the main efforts setting aside operations and everything we do in real time for the troops is ensuring that both the base discretionary budget and reconciliation are passed so that President Trump's historic budget is realized. Because of the underinvestment of the past, whether it's continuing resolutions or Biden budgets, we need to supercharge our defense industrial base, our munitions into the future. And so we're our entirety of our team and our department is running in the same direction to ensure that reconciliation as swiftly and as clearly and cooperatively as possible is passed alongside the base discretionary budget.
Well, I understand that, but I just need you to understand our concern here, that you've got your base budget and then you have the reconciliation. I want to ask about the Iran authorization. No great secret around here. I have been talking about an authorization of use of military force. I understand that the administration has made clear that you believe that the actions taken thus far fall under the President's Article 2 authority. I think reasonable people have disagreed about the boundaries of presidential war powers for a long time, but the war powers resolution is pretty clear here. It requires the President to terminate hostilities within 60 days, absent congressional authorization. I think it's important that we in Congress actually assert our own role and responsibility to this. That 60-day clock expired April 28th. And then on the 1st, the administration sent letters to congressional leaders asserting that the hostilities has ended. But I think where there is confusion is when the President says hostilities have ended, we still have 15,000 troops that are forward deployed, more than 20 warships in an active naval blockade. CENTCOM has redirected 61 commercial vessels, disabled tankers. In other words, it doesn't appear that hostilities have ended. And so the question to you is whether or not the administration has considered or had intended to seek an authorization of use of military force from the Congress.
Senator, our view is that should the President make the decision to recommence, that we would have all the authorities necessary to do so.
Do you think that it would be helpful to the President if it was made clear that, in fact, the Congress did provide an AUMF?
I think the President, our view is that he has all the authorities he needs under Article 2 to execute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, here's our
Senator John Kennedy is doing the Lord's work. He has a gift for asking simple, direct questions that expose how broken and bloated the federal government has become. While everyday Americans struggle with inflation, high taxes, and rising costs, Washington continues to waste money on programs that either don't work or actively work against American interests. This hearing is a perfect microcosm of the larger problem: too many agencies, too little accountability, and too much money flowing with no real oversight. Senator Kennedy's style, plain-spoken, sharp, and relentless, cuts through the bureaucratic jargon and forces officials to confront reality. This is what effective oversight looks like. As a patriot, I'm sick and tired of the endless waste. We have a national debt over $36 trillion, yet agencies can't explain where billions go or what results they're delivering. Programs with confusing names, overlapping missions, and poor outcomes keep getting funded year after year. It's time to slash the bureaucracy, eliminate failed programs, and redirect every dollar toward real priorities: securing the border, strengthening the military, rebuilding infrastructure, and lowering taxes for American families. The contrast with the Trump administration is clear. President Trump and his team are focused on efficiency, results, and putting America first. They're using tools like impoundment, rescissions, and AI fraud detection to cut waste. Meanwhile, Democrats defend the status quo and attack anyone who tries to reform it. Deeper opinion as a right-wing patriot: government is not the solution, it's often the problem. The founders never intended for a massive, unaccountable administrative state that spends money like it's infinite. We need a full audit of every federal agency, massive cuts to non-essential spending, and a return to constitutional principles where the federal government is limited and accountable. Senator John Kennedy represents the best of conservative oversight, holding power to account with wit and precision. We need more leaders like him who refuse to accept vague answers and empty promises. Every dollar wasted is a dollar taken from American workers, families, and future generations. This kind of hearing should lead to real action, program terminations, staff reductions, and structural reform. The American people are demanding it. Final passionate message. Patriots, Senator John Kennedy is exposing the rot. Support leaders who fight for fiscal responsibility and government accountability. Demand a full reckoning with wasteful spending. We elected Trump to drain the swamp. Now it's time to deliver. If this hearing fired you up like it did me, comment below. What's the most outrageous example of government waste you've seen? Should we conduct a full audit of every federal agency? Do you love Senator John Kennedy's questioning style? Smash like if you stand with Senator John Kennedy and America First Accountability. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share with every patriot. We need secure borders, energy dominance, fiscal sanity, and an unapologetic America First agenda. Stay vigilant. Stay informed. God bless Senator John Kennedy. God bless President Trump. And God bless the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth.